On today's episode of Scientific Healing, you're going to hear.
Biggest revolution I had leaving corporate was I didn't have to learn anything else. There wasn't anything else to add to me, to my knowledge base. It starts here. It starts on the inside and who I am as a being, my being state.
Hello, everyone. You're listening to Scientific Healing with Dr. Anastasia Chopelas. I know the power of vibrational healing by combining physics with ancient healing arts to develop my own system that has amplified results with hundreds of my clients and healing students. When you are ready to feel energized at the end of the day after working with your coaching or healing clients all day long, even while expanding and growing your practice, go to scientifichealer.com/energize me or connect with me at scientifichealer.com/appointment. My next guest, Cyndi Padilla, is really a success expert, but she disguises herself as a go-to solution for big companies when they need a sales team. Who to better motivate a sales team than someone who understands what it takes to be successful? Cyndi started with a bachelor's degree in business management and a master's in organizational leadership. She then went on to a corporate job with over 20 years experience of building and leading teams for retail giants like Target and The Gap. Then about 5 years ago, she said goodbye to the corporate world, quitting her six-figure job without a plan, but a knowing and a faith that it was the right decision. And for those of you who are worried about jumping their job ship, listen, your success in one area of life leads and bleeds to success in other areas. And Cyndi exemplifies this. She and her husband built a very successful business with lightning speed. Her unshakable faith, devotion, and discipline to her morning routine are the keys to her company's sustainable growth. So the way you start your day is the way you do everything. And I know this because I've interviewed a lot of very successful people and they all have morning routines. So you better get started having one if you don't. and and it's a way to attract new clients because of how successful it made her and her clients. We'll talk about this and more in today's episode. Welcome to the show, Cyndi. I'm so delighted to have you here.
I am thrilled to be here. Yeah, I think we have a lot of alignment, and just chatting with you a little bit earlier, I'm super excited for this time together.
Oh, I am too. You know, what's interesting is I've been on an email list of yours some time ago, and then I saw you somewhere else and you were giving away this, your success secrets is your morning routine. And I'm going, man, I better reach out to you. And here we are. Not that much later. It's really exciting. So you know that we're in alignment, right?
Yes.
So I know that you're an expert in leadership. What was the big impetus in doing this? Could you share that with us?
Yeah, you touched on it in the introduction, which was my escape from corporate, and just realizing about 5 years ago that I just really could not do it anymore. I had phenomenal experiences. I learned a lot about leadership and met amazing people. And there just came a point where it wasn't necessary. It was completely out of alignment with who I was. And the interesting piece was I didn't even know that at the time, because I didn't know about amazing, talented people like you. I didn't know about energetics, and I just literally knew it was time to go. And I talked to my husband about quitting my job, and I did.
Yeah, that's like taking a deep breath, because when you're in, six and multiple six figures, as I was too when I quit being a professor.
Yeah.
And when you're in that, it's like you just hold your breath and go, oh man, how am I going to make it? But, within 5 months of starting my business, I was in six figures too. Right. And I was selling in the woo space, like, something that's a hard sell.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I think that we're going to show a lot of alignment in exactly how we do our days and things like that. And I've done this, and as I mentioned in the pre-show, I've done this since I was 14.
Yeah.
I had a morning routine, so I've been doing it over 50 years.
That's beautiful.
And
You're a
so
great example. That's awesome. Look how happy you are. Like, that's the best part also.
I know, and I am, and I always have been. And people always go, something must be wrong with you. Because nobody could be that optimistic. When I lived in Germany, because their favorite pastime is complaining. So I was always like,
uber serious, uber serious. Yeah.
So what's different about what you do? Like, you're got a sales team and you offer it. So what's different about what you do compared to other people?
What's different about everything that I am, one of the first things I learned when I left corporate was I had a lot of unlearning to do. I really spent the past 4 years just unlearning programming, indoctrination, and limiting beliefs, and that life had to be hard and I had to work really hard. And I learned about the world of woo and energetics, and that has just been my everything. I have a deep faith and a belief in God, and knowing that energetic aspect has just really brought it all together with my morning routine. And that what I learned in corporate was all about very tactical, strategic, logical, your time management. And then I quickly learned, for me, it became about energy management and realizing I could be at choice. As an entrepreneur, I'm at choice as to how I spend my time and energy, and just learning so much along the way. Like for me, I learned when I talk to my money maven, we call her, I have to talk to her early in the day, because if it's later in the day, I've had too many phone calls, I get up really early, so I'm tired. And so again, it's just that energy management. We meet at 10 o'clock in the morning, so I'm coherent to talk about money and help her make decisions. And so that was like a critical learning for me, was energy management.
Yeah, I do the same thing. I usually don't take any calls until noon or later.
Yeah.
Because that's my creative time, is in the morning. That's when my mind is like really, really moving. And then in between, like, if I have little times in between, so this is, the energy management, then I do like little routine tasks that don't take much effort.
Yeah, I've definitely organized my schedule to where I have days that are just really very creative days. So I don't take any clients, I don't take meetings. They're really just creative days. And then I chunk out my time, because it's really hard to be creative in 45-minute spurts after you just got off a client call. And then, you got to talk to a bank the next, you can't get creative in 45 minutes. So.
Exactly. So who is it that seeks you out, and how do you help them?
Yeah, the people that are seeking us out are 7-figure coaches, speakers, experts who are looking for an outsourced sales solution. That's our primary business, is we have an outsourced sales team. And when we talk about sales, because that's a hot topic, a lot of people are afraid of sales. If you're handing off your sales, it's a really sensitive subject, because you're trusting someone with your livelihood. And so for us to own that, again, is huge energy management. It's a big responsibility to carry. And then the way we teach sales is it's sales unscripted. So it's not so much what you're saying. There's a script, there's an outline, but it's about who you're being in that conversation. It's about being really present, so you can catch the little nuggets and you can follow the trails, and you can really help people make really solid, informed decisions about what they're going to do next.
Awesome. That's really exciting. Because I know that there are sales teams that for hire, but you really need to find someone that's aligned with your values. And don't think, like, I was in the process of hiring an assistant, and I told them what I did, and I said, well, what do you think about that? And they go, it doesn't matter. And I'm going,
It has to matter. Yeah.
And then there was another one, she was from a foreign country, and she says, I don't like Americans. And I'm thinking, oh. Most of the people that are around you are Americans since you're living here.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's really interesting. And that's the revealing part, right? That's like also the magic of having that conversation, is how your sales team can gather up what it is that that person is really looking for.
Yes.
That's a really key point for
Mm-hmm.
sales team. So what's a typical result of someone coming to you with a problem, and what do they walk away with?
When they come to us, they're usually overwhelmed. They are doing an aspect of their business and their job that isn't their sweet spot. It isn't their genius zone, but it's a necessity of the business. Everybody needs sales, so they're at a point of just like they don't want to be running that sales team, hiring, training, developing. So that's what they're handing off as well. So they're really looking for a solid solution that they can trust. We work with our team to really integrate so that the language is branded, that it's a great energetic match. I mean, we invite people to the campaigns and the clients that they're selling to, and they get the chance to meet and really engage so that there's a true connection, and they believe in the person they're representing and what they're selling. And it's just a really amazing thing. I love watching that come together and my client go,
yeah, so that's your client, but you also hire people, so you're giving people a livelihood.
absolutely, absolutely. That's just such a blessing, and it just feels, it's so rewarding and it feels so good. My husband and I were just talking about that yesterday. We're in some transition with our business, and the only thing we really care about is how do we provide more opportunities for our team to, have a life and have the freedom and be a part of our team, and where can they grow? And that's what's really important to us.
So you must put them through, a special training process that's different than they would get in any other sales team kind of environment.
Yeah, similar to what you said, our culture, we have very strong values in our business, and so even their onboarding process is about 3 weeks long before they even would be considered available for a sales opportunity. So they have to really get to know our company, jump into our culture, acclimate to who we are and how we serve, and then it's like, okay, now we'll introduce you to a client and see where we can fit you in.
So may I ask how many people you have on your sales teams?
Yeah, our sales team ranges from about 20 to 50. It can accordion in and out. They're all independent contractors. It's so fun. We have them in England, Canada, Australia, all across the U.S. So we're a virtual company, as a lot of entrepreneurs are. But yeah, it's
the world is shrinking, isn't it?
It is. It is.
Yeah, I just started a certification program, and I have people in like 6 different countries, and they're in all time zones. So I have to teach it, the program, I have to teach it 2 times a week at different times a day, because they all can't come to the same time. It's just not possible.
Yeah,
it's
and
really, really.
It's beautiful for us having all the time zones, because our clients are people like you who serve clients all over the world, so that our salespeople can be, available at all the hours that we need to be.
Yeah. So let's talk about, you don't have to name the client, but let's talk about a specific person that you had a really tough job with and that you really needed to find a good solution for, and then they walked away really happy. So what was the before, and then what was the after?
Yeah, usually the biggest wins for us and the client I'm thinking about is we hear that they have even stopped marketing because they just don't want to deal with the leads. They just don't want to deal with the aspects. So they're literally playing small. They're limiting their influence and impact on the world because they haven't figured out the sales division of their organization and business. So to, this client that comes to us is just, they're not living their truth. They're not living authentically and as big as they can. And so to be able to open that world to them and say, we have your back in this. And so let's open up the marketing and help them with different aspects of different ways that they can reach, bigger audiences. That's the huge win.
Yeah. That sounds about like me. I'm kind of limited to how much time I have to take on calls.
Yes.
Right? So it sounds about like me.
Yeah.
And I think anybody who wants to make a big impact, we spread ourselves too thin. We do too many of the jobs that we shouldn't be doing. I shouldn't be doing some of the techie work I'm doing because it's not in the highest and best interest of who can benefit from what I have to offer. And it's the same, like who can benefit from what you have to offer.
And you loop that back to what you just shared. You bring on the tech person to take that off your plate. Then you've also just, given someone an opportunity to share their gifts, to earn money, to pay their bills,
exactly right. Because I was terrible at social media, and I hired this wonderful social media person, and she has just made this giant impact in my business because she spread me all over social media. And I said, I don't even know what to do with them. I'm a natural severe introvert. Like, what do I do? Yeah. and I, you go on and you have a chat here and you have a chat there, and I'm going, I'd rather meet people in person. Right. So having someone who is adept at it and loves to do it, and then she gets to earn her keep, and it takes it off me, and it's like a 10 times ROI.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was also a huge part of our business growth was team, like bringing on the right team at the right time. Because as business owners, we can tend to be that bottleneck. And just to your point, like from that energetic standpoint, when we're doing things that are not in our genius zone, it's exhausting.
Oh man,
it's not as fruitful. It never comes out really good. And you're just exhausted.
Yeah, well, it absolutely. So let's take a little break, and then we'll come back and talk some more. This is really exciting. I want to remind all of our listeners that you're listening to Scientific Healing with Dr. Anastasia Chopelas. Today, my special guest is Cyndi Padilla, leadership and success expert. When we return after the break, we'll dive deeper into her process and show how you can be successful too. You can actually do simple physical manipulations on yourself to change your mental, emotional state, release blocks, and even release things like pain in your body. And of course, the backup to all of these techniques, the backup is to work out also the spiritual, the emotional, the mental, and then relieve the physical. I have a process that does that. We go through one step at a time and clean up all of, so whatever condition that you have, whether it's mental, emotional, spiritual, or physical, whatever condition that you have, especially if it manifested in the physical, was usually years in the making. You didn't get it overnight, years in the making. One of the ways that I work is I find out when something got manifested in your body, like go back to that year, and then rewrite the story, uncreate the story, redo the story. So it's as if it never happened. It's as if you imagine your life as a tree, and here you are at birth, and each decision that you make will create a different branch, right? So you have all these branches of possibilities, and you're ending up somewhere along the branch. And by doing energy work, it's as if you did not make that decision, and instead you made a different decision, and you end up on another branch. So that's the way I view energy healing with regards to whatever your life is now. And the great thing is that we are infinite beings of light, powerful beings of light, and we can change our history, and we can rewrite things, and we can create whatever life we want. And I'm ready to have a conversation with you if that's what you'd like to have in your life. Either learn it for yourself or to have me help you with it. So I have my contact information is scientifichealer.com/contact or scientifichealer.com/appointment. So you can either write me or have a conversation with me, and I always answer whatever queries come through. And I do it personally because I'm very interested in hearing what you would like to hear. Welcome back. You're listening to Scientific Healing with Dr. Anastasia Chopelas. If you are a healer or coach, you can discover more about scientific healing and the deceptively simple processes by going to scientifichealer.com/action and download the action guide for discovering your one biggest challenge to your success. Before the break, we were talking to Cyndi Padilla about gaining the edge to becoming successful. Welcome back, Cyndi. I'm so excited to be talking about your process further.
Me too. Thank you for the opportunity to share the light and shed the light on sales and how it can be, such a gift, and it truly is a service.
Right. It's a service, and it's necessary, and it doesn't have to be painful.
Right.
It really doesn't. People say, how do you start your sales conversations? And I call them up and I go, hey, what's happening?
Yeah, it's all about being really curious. It's about being interested in who the other person is, and can you not actually help them?
Yeah, and then you say, well, so what's going on in your life? And or what's interesting for you? And it always, the thing that's most important to them will pop out first.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Always. So, we're talking about the morning routine. So let's dive into that a little further about the morning routine. So name a few things that you do.
I get up early, so I am one of those 5 o'clockers. So 5 o'clock in the morning, I think it's important. I have a little sacred space in my front room, and I'm surrounded by books that I refer to. I start with prayer every morning, and it's really it's listening and trusting. I spend time quietly talking to God, to universe, to spirit. It's easy to, for me, and I know many people, to, ask God for specific things, or the universe, or tell the universe what's going on as if they don't know. So it's just sitting quietly and intending on a message. Like, I will hear what I need to hear, and asking for guidance, and how can I be of service today?
Yes, I do the same. And I also give thanks for everything. I do a lot of gratitude.
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
So, right. Because what you focus on grows.
Yes.
And so, what's the biggest lesson that you learned to do over again that you would pass on to someone else just starting a business?
Yeah. For me, I reflected on that question is, I'm an avid learner. I love learning, and what became apparent after a certain period of time in my entrepreneurial journey was I didn't have anything else to learn. I didn't have to go achieve, do, strive, and reach for to be successful. It was really about my being state. Mm-hmm. And that's where I just got so grounded into my morning routine. And I have all my little tools, my crystals, and my tiger's eye. Like, there's things that I hold on as anchors throughout the day, to remind me of what my intention was for the day. So it was really about my being state, because as a business owner, you are the center of your business. And so how you feel, how you think, how you move through your day and your life is how your business is going to reflect that.
Yeah, and it's really interesting, having spent 20 years in corporate. I only spent 5 years in corporate. And then I spent another 30 years or so in academia. But it's interesting coming from corporate, more and more people that are successful business owners are embracing those things, carrying a crystal around, prayer in the morning, deep breathing, certain movement to stimulate the 12 meridians, like yoga. Certain yoga movements will do that. And, I've always had crystals around. So I've I studied minerals for 40 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I studied vibrations of minerals. I have publications on this.
Ooh.
So it sounds woo, but it wasn't. It was totally practical.
Yeah, it
And
is.
right. So it's really interesting that you're embracing a lot of these practices that are on the edge of woo. And, you know, even when I was a professor at University of Nevada, I was in the physics department, and there was a department of existential studies on campus, and they would have woo people come in and talk. And as soon as they saw who was there, they would roll their eyes and make, total fun of it. And I'm sitting there, I can't reveal that I'm psychic. I can't reveal that the way I do my science is that I ask what's going on in there, and the answers would flow back, and that it was all downloaded. I can't tell them that. I just had to make, pretend like I just did all of the science thingies.
Right.
Right. And so it's interesting to hear that coming from this very left-brained world,
Mm-hmm.
right? That
in a box.
Yeah, and it's
very mainstream. Like I said, I didn't even know this world existed 4.5 years ago. I didn't know the coaching world existed. I didn't realize energetics, the whole masculine, feminine energy. Mm-hmm. Like that's all new to me. So I'm so happy that I found it, and I'm happy that I latched on and I learned and adapted quickly. But that's been all the unlearning, right?
Yes.
Letting go of all that stuff. Mm-hmm.
Well, that stuff, what I had to do it. I was by force that I had to do it. And, even though I've had this morning practice for so long, my morning practice consisted of getting up, stretching, moving, breathing, and then going out for a 6-mile run. Mm-hmm. So I did this every day, come hell or high water. And then even though I took good care of myself with nutrition and that, I still got really sick. So I was forced to embrace the woo side of me. I couldn't just be the practical scientist type, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so you could either, embrace it or continue down this path of, getting sicker and sicker. Mm-hmm. And that's the difference that it made for me.
Yeah. And that was my existence in corporate. I had chronic neck pain. Mm-hmm. I mean, I lived on ibuprofen, chocolate, and Diet Pepsi. I was 15 pounds heavier. It was awful.
Yeah. I know. I was always hungry, but I had my vices were coffee, and that was the main one. Is the thing that kept me going was coffee. And you eat coffee, you have coffee to help boost you up. It's burning the candle at both ends. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I'm off all stimulants now. I don't need them anymore.
Wow. And look, and you're still so joyful. It's awesome.
So many businesses fail early on, and we touched on this a little while ago. And so what makes you different? What's your motivation for keeping going? Because you had this rapid rise to success.
Very rapid. I think we talked about a little on the conversation is I have a deep faith, and I take action on that faith, and I just believe wholeheartedly things are always going to work out for my good. And I take massive action, and I think about how fast in first year we hit multi 6 figures. In the second year we hit 7 figures, and you're moving so fast. I mean, you don't even know what's happening. You're just going next step, and a lot of mistakes. So, my advice to new business owners is always stay in action, be comfortable making mistakes. Mistakes are just a way that you gain wisdom. Unless you take action and make a mistake, or you actually even, win and you celebrate, that's when you learn. And so, okay, that worked, that didn't work. Here's my next path. If we kept everything on paper and in our head, nothing happens.
No, I really agree. Like when I was told one time that I needed to write down all the steps I took to make something work. And I just, it was an instrument, and I basically said, turn all the knobs until it happened. Right. And somebody says, well, you must use a logical approach. And I said, no, I didn't. It was all intuitive. Right. It was really intuitive because the machine wasn't working properly. So I took it apart, put it back together, and then I just turned the knobs until it was doing what it was supposed to. And, and so I didn't know what I did.
Yeah.
And I couldn't write it down. And the boss kept insisting. That was when I was in corporate. So, so finally I went to my ex-husband and I told him this dilemma, and he goes, oh, that would take you about 3 months to write out all the thought processes that you went through. And yeah, and not only that, but it would take you 3 months to get it to work if you were to follow a series of logical steps. All right. So,
and that's a great point. The intuition. I think that's what I've learned to tap into also is we don't always know, and you don't know the big picture. You just need to know what to do next. And then really trust in your intuition. There's many, many times where I got a hit and I didn't act on it, or I did and I shouldn't have. And what always happens? It comes back and bites you in the butt.
Yeah.
And so and even then it's like, okay, lesson learned. Listen.
Yeah. You have a big vision, but you don't know all the details of how to get there. Right. Yeah. But you just know what you need to do right now.
Yes.
Yeah. That's how I do it. That's why I always say, there's 8 factors in your health, wealth, and relationships. And these are from major university studies and things. And these 8 factors, everybody says, oh, I'm overwhelmed. There's 8 things. And I go, no, just do one at a time. Right. Because you'll solve it.
And make it yours, right? So as we're going through those 8, it's going to vary. So what resonates, what doesn't, what's working. So yeah, just always, again, it comes back to your being state. What's working for you right now.
Exactly. So what's your biggest challenge right now?
Honestly, our biggest challenge right now is we have too many opportunities. we have some. I'm actually launching a new division in our company, and so there's a lot of things that are in its infancy. And so for me right now, the balance is running a stable, successful business and growing something new and launching something that's new in its infancy. So I feel like I'm using 2 parts of my brain. Like, there's the I know what to do part of my brain on my successful, already in place business. And then there's like, oh yeah, I'm starting over and I'm creating. So, and again, the solution is to always come back to a sense of self. What needs to happen next? Yeah.
I always ask, what is mine to know today?
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, just say, what is mine to know today? What am I going to do next? And sometimes I write it down and the answer flows out.
I do that too. Yeah.
It's great, right? So journaling is a really powerful process.
That's part of my morning process is journaling. And like you mentioned, the physical fitness, really good nutrition. And I don't take calls before 10 o'clock in the morning. I get up at 5, right? So that's a 5-hour spaciousness.
Right. I get up at 6. Yeah. So we're similar. And I also have like a 5 to 6 hour gap.
Yeah.
But I start doing creative things in the morning. So what's a tip or 2 that can help listeners to gear up for their success?
I think we talked about a few of them. It's just, be okay making mistakes, stay in action. That takes some compassion for yourself. It takes a level of humility as you're growing your business, because there's going to be mistakes. There's going to be challenges and it's all okay. And then the other piece that I know is really paramount in my success was the mentors that I had in my life. And it takes a village. It's a team. It isn't, I want to be successful in business. I'm going to go get a business coach. And I did that. But the coaches that probably really, really ensured that I was successful were my spiritual coach and my energy coach.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Because they kept me grounded. They helped me create the container. Again, it's not like I needed to know any more business speak. I needed to know how to translate corporate into entrepreneurship. But really, it was about creating an energetic container to build this business that allowed me and my husband to move around about the cabin freely. And yeah.
Yes, I completely agree, because when you have your business is only as successful as you are developed, right? So you're where you are, like where you are is like, it's your ability to delegate, your ability to train people, your ability to let go, your ability to trust, all those things, your integrity, all those things need to be built up. Like
Yes.
the ability to say, I need to let this go. It's not in my highest and best good. And sometimes people don't even pay attention. I can just tell you, I don't even pay attention. It's just like little job. Oh, that'll just take 5 seconds, and you do it. And then, oh, that'll just take 5 seconds. And then after a while, your time is nickeled and dimed, but it's not just the time, it's the energy.
Right.
It's the energy that gets nickeled and dimed. And so, after doing like 5 or 10 of these little tasks, on your list, you're going, dang, I'm pooped.
I need a nap. Yeah, I have, like I said, my calendar set up, and there's 2 days a week that I work on our business or in our business. I'm in it. And those are just exhausting days. Like by noon, I'm like, I need a nap. But then my creative days, that doesn't happen to me.
No, exactly. Whenever when I'm in the creative flow, it's so awesome.
Yeah.
It's so awesome. You just sit there and it's just like flowing through and coming out the fingers.
Yeah.
Right. So how can people get a hold of you? And describe your free gift.
Yeah. So my free gift is my Sacred Morning Rituals. It's a 7 sacred steps, and it's, it works for me, and I know it'll work for anybody who tries it. And the caveat is make it yours. So, what you read and what you do at the gym and how much time, but it's about having that routine in place, because it really sets you up energetically in your mind for your day to be just so much more efficient. You have clearer boundaries. You make better decisions. You have clearer communication, and all of that leads to an easier run and more profitable business.
Yes, exactly right. And, making the right hires.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some people have told me that even though they didn't have the money to pay for an assistant, that was the first hire they made, and it completely paid off.
Yes. That's a phenomenal point. It was our first hire, and we hired a personal assistant was our first hire. Because I told my husband on one day, he's like, we got to do X, Y, Z. And I'm like, well, I got to do the laundry, and I got to do this and this and this. And if you're growing a business, those aren't revenue generating activities. They have to get done. So it really is. We hired a personal assistant. She's been with us 4 years.
Awesome.
We love her. And then, yes, it's building your team. So like you just said, and we just shared, that we get so much more done. We're so much more efficient, and the work is exponentially better when we're in our genius. So bringing on a team that's going to do some of those other things that, because love details, then hire your details.
I'm like, no, just here's the big picture. Go do the details.
Yeah, technology. Like, I don't even have access into our Infusionsoft. I don't know the password. I don't want to know.
You don't need
someone else that takes care of all that.
You don't need to know.
I don't need to know that.
I was just having that talk with another business owner who's edging towards the 7-figure mark.
Nice, yeah.
Right? He's edging towards it. And I work with him energetically. And so he was just telling me some of the things going on with his Infusionsoft team, and he has to go in and correct their mistakes. I go, no, they need to go. You need someone new that will, that will be honored to serve you and will help you. And you don't need to go and correct their mistakes. You shouldn't be going into Infusionsoft, right? And that's exactly the point.
Yeah.
It's exactly the point. We
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't be. And just because you can, because I can't, I came from a physics department, and I used to program web pages with a word processor or a text editor. So I do open bracket, H1, close bracket, and then, right? So I used to do it that way. It was like second nature to me.
Yeah.
So it became like everything was really easy. Oh, set up a website, boom, 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 it was up. Oh, you need to write a book, send it off, it's done. Right. And now I'm just like going, no, I'm not going to do all the techie details.
Right. And that's what successful people do, is they narrow in on what they do well, what serves best themselves and their clients and their communities. Mm-hmm. And that's where they put all their energies.
Yes. So your website is?
GainTheEdgeNow.com.
Exactly. GainTheEdgeNow.com. And that's where they can download those morning rituals. And I downloaded it, and I'm going, wow, I really need to have you on my show because this is superb.
Awesome. Thank you.
It was really superb, a superb set of morning rituals. And like you said, everyone can make it their own. Like, yes. I have a slightly different set, but like I was telling somebody the other day, he says, are you willing to do uncomfortable things? And I said, yeah, I drink celery juice every morning.
Me, it's apple cider vinegar. The things we do for health.
Right. And since I started doing it, I haven't gotten sick.
Right.
Because it's a virus. It controls the virus levels in your body, and it improves your immune system. So I'm just like, celery juice. So thank you so much. And I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to be on the show. And I really appreciate all the tips you gave the listeners. And this has been a total delight.
And same to you. I have enjoyed every minute of this. You're a pure joy and brilliant. So what a combination. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're most welcome.
Yeah.
So thank you for listening to Scientific Healing, and for our delightful guest, Cyndi Padilla. You can connect with her again at going to GainTheEdgeNow.com to download that awesome morning ritual. It give you some ideas of what you could do to get your day started. Let's you and I connect. Go to scientifichealer.com/energize me to check out my certification program to help you thrive as a healer or coach while building out your practice to 6 figures or more, I might add. When you're ready to learn more, I invite you into a conversation right now. I have reserved time for you on my calendar at scientifichealer.com/appointment. This is Dr. Anastasia Chopelas. Until next time.